AITA for telling my boyfriend that my feelings about marriage have changed. I, 33F, have been in a relationship with my boyfriend Carl, 33M, for 10 years. Early on, I made it clear that I wanted to be a wife someday. By the time I was 28, I started reminding Carl of my goals. He told me he wanted to marry me but wasn't ready yet, and he didn't like feeling pressured. He even called me controlling. Eventually, we broke up, but 6 months later, we got back together and moved in together. Looking back, I realized it wasn't the best decision, but I was so emotionally attached and invested that I went back. We've now lived together for 4 years. While I stopped being truly happy after the first 6 months, living with Carl hasn't been a bad experience. I kept thinking marriage was just around the corner because Carl said he wanted to commit, but wanted to wait for the right time to give me a perfect proposal and be a more stable husband. For the past 2 years, I've been in therapy, and recently I had an epiphany. Since childhood, I've always dreamed of a wedding, but never thought deeply about the reality of being a married woman. Given my country's political shifts and new laws being discussed, I realized I'm fine with never getting married. And I've even started leaning into that idea. It feels freeing, and I've started focusing more on myself. One big change I made was telling Carl I'd no longer assist with babysitting his nephews and niece. Instead, I wanted to focus on getting certified in a field to increase my earning potential and to just relax more. At first, Carl seemed fine with it, but when I texted his mom and brother to let them know they had 3 weeks before I stopped helping entirely, Carl insisted we sit down and talk. He said while he understood my need for personal time, family requires sacrifice, and he felt it was important to step up for them. I suggested he rearrange his own work schedule to help, since it's his family. He argued that the kids love me and that one day they'd be my family too, once we were married. That's when I told him I no longer wanted marriage. I explained my reasons, but Carl took it personally, thinking I wanted to break up or that I believed he'd make a terrible husband. That's not the case at all, but he's lashing out, acting suspicious, and questioning my intentions. I just don't know how to get him to see that it's not about him, it's about me and what I've realized about my own desires and goals. TLDR, I no longer want to get married after 10 years with my boyfriend. He's taking it as a personal insult, even though it's about my own growth and not a reflection on him. I don't know how to get him to understand.